Ken Molestina here from CBS News Dallas-Fort Worth. As we have been reporting today, Monday, day one of the retrial for Billy Chemirmir. Let's get right to the court. Our Andrea Lucia standing by right now. Andrea, a very busy morning. This is your first break so far. And as we have planned, we're going to sort of chit-chat a little bit, you and I, throughout the day when you have these breaks. Bring us up to speed.
Well, we are just getting underway here with the retrial of alleged serial killer Billy Chemirmir. He is on trial for the murder of Luthi Harris, who is believed to be his final victim. But he has been indicted on 18 capital murder charges in all. He's suspected in at least 24 different murders. He went on trial for this particular murder back in November. That ended in a deadlocked jury. So here we are at it again. So far, we've been dealing with pretrial issues this morning. Some of them centered on the jury. One juror we know hasn't yet shown up today. Another one was walking here through the hallway this morning and recognized somebody out here who was here to observe the trial or connected to the trial in some way and recognized them from church. So the defense has objected that perhaps that juror cannot be impartial. The juror himself has said otherwise. But we are trying to get all that sorted out before even really getting started. The jury has not yet taken their seats in the court, but we're dealing with all those matters at this point.
Yeah, and Andrea, it sounds like it's mostly just some early morning housekeeping that needs to get in order before the trial can really begin, as you've mentioned. I also understand that there was some conversation about what media access was going to be available inside the courtroom. I understand that there was some sort of a motion to try and ban cameras, TV cameras, from being inside. Is that true, and where does that stand?
Yeah, the defense made an objection. He asked that the media not be allowed to have our cameras inside. He said it would make the impression that this was a bigger deal, or that it had increased importance and perhaps affect the jury in that way. But this is something that that we, the media, have been in touch with the judge. We've been in touch with her really throughout this process, throughout the initial trial, throughout the beginning of this trial, and so of course that was denied. But there were several, as you said, housekeeping matters that were brought up. So far, though, with the exception of the issues with the jury, everything seems to be sort of going as planned. I will say things are a bit different this time around, just because the COVID precautions have been loosened. In the initial trial, we weren't allowed inside except for designated pool cameras, but the media in general, the public in general, and more importantly, the victims' families were not allowed inside. They watched from an upstairs room. They were watching through our live stream. They watched the entire first trial that way. This time they are being allowed in the court. It is open to the public. You are required to have masks, but beyond that, they are allowed to be in there, and that is going to put them in view of Billy Chemirmir himself. It puts them in view of the jury. That's something that is very important to them. They feel like the jury will sort of get that impression of this is something that matters. There are people who care deeply about what happens here, and they think that that will make it harder for the jurors to forget about them, to forget about the number of people who are being impacted by what's happening here.
Right, and that was a real important sort of point that you made last week during your coverage of all of this, Andrea, is the fact that, like you said, those COVID precautions basically bring this back to more of a traditional setting where, perhaps a more traditional outcome could be produced when this is all said and done. Any indication, and I know it's early, but is there any indication, Andrea, right now of how long maybe this second retrial might last?
So we know the first trial lasted an entire week. It started on a Monday. It ran through the end of the day, I think, on Friday. Part of that was just the amount of time that the jurors deliberated. They were a hung jury. They were forced, though, to make a good effort. So I know, like, the entire Friday they were deliberating. There was also one day where we did a half day. So we might go a little bit faster this time. On the other hand, the prosecution may want to present even more evidence, go even further to make their case, just to make sure that there is no doubt left, really put everything on the table. So it's unclear, but I know we're moving forward with sort of the expectation that it will likely last 3, 4, 5 days, something in that range.
Sounds like at least the remainder of this work week at the very least here. Andrea, thank you so much. I know that you'll be covering it, and as I said, whenever you do have a break, you got something to report, just let us know, and we'll have a little chit-chat here on CBS News Dallas-Fort Worth. But I'll let you get back to it, and we will certainly talk soon. We'll give you another update from the Chemirmir trial, and we will visit with her as needed throughout the day, so keep it locked right here.